Have a team play at home for a week, have them travel for a week, have them play at home for a week, have them travel for a week. It's not rocket science, right? And yes, you're going to have these times where, you know what, you're only going to be able, you have something scheduled on a Wednesday. So guess what? You can't play at home that way. No, guess what? You can play in Chicago where it's not that far of a travel for those 3 days. You can play in Milwaukee where it's not, you can play in Kane County for those 3 days, right? Where it's not going to take you 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 hours to get home.
He hits it high in the air. Left field. This one's got a chance. And let's go on a cowhide. Joyride. Sound the horn. The RailCats clear the yard.
Hello, RailCats fans, and welcome back to the RailCats Talk podcast. He's Chuck Polarek. I'm Kyle Svetich, and Chuck, we're in the last full month of the season.
We've got less than a month to go.
I mean, July is over with. July has just, looking at July in general, just been a whirlwind of craziness. I mean, obviously, you had the dismissal of Lamar Rogers, and then just Jeff Isom comes in. uh Players being released, wanting to be released, the ups and downs, the big games, the blowouts. Yeah, July was different.
I agree with you.
I think there was a
What
lot of
about
optimism in July that kind of turned into um it's like when you go to the bathroom thinking you're gonna poop, but you just fart.
You've been saving all day for that one, haven't you?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, I know you're not that funny off the cuff,
I
so
am not that funny. You're right. I ripped that off of
no.
some comedian a long time ago, just waiting for the right time to use it.
There you go. There you go.
But Chuck, I mean, what's your? I mean, obviously we can go over what happened last week, but like, what just looking at July in general, what are some of your thoughts on the month?
Oh boy. You know what? It's interesting because Peyton Long, great outings. I believe he gave up 8 runs last month, 40 40 innings pitched, something like that. Um, Fantastic job from him every time he went out. I think he had one game where he gave up 6, something like that. Another game he gave up 2. But I mean, he was just lighting it up. LG bets 300 for the month.
Hmm.
That was very nice. Um, he's hit more home runs this year than he did last year. Definitely getting really nice hits. Um, Marcos comes back, uh, and that's been a delight to see. So I mean, it's been, I don't know. We're on the downswing of the season,
Yeah,
and I got to looking at my tickets yesterday, and I'm like, we've only got 3 series at home left. That's sad.
yeah, I know.
So
Yeah, I mean it's a big, I haven't really been to a lot of games, obviously, with the big baby watch, and we almost had the scare yesterday that I was looked at my wife and I said, tell me when, and we're ready to go. So we're still creeping away. I don't want to be too far away from Friday, which would have been Union night, correct?
right.
Um, was that a confirmed sellout? I don't remember, or
I don't
was it close?
They didn't post anything. All three games this weekend were a lot of people.
Um, but my wife was like, "You can go," and I'm like, "I don't want to." I would feel really bad being all the way up in Gary and her all the way being all the way down in Demont, and me having to make the drive all the way down. I was like, I can't risk it at this point. So
You know what? That right there is a very adult decision to make because you don't want to put yourself in a situation where you're watching a baseball game and she's calling and you hit ignore. You don't want to do that.
yeah, I don't
So
think I would hit ignore. I don't think that would be the case.
I think that's what we discussed before. So, anyways,
Maybe accidentally on purpose, maybe.
right, right. Let's just wait till this inning and then
Yeah,
I'll
I
answer the phone call. Right. So yeah, it's been some good games. It's been fun to watch some of these games. It's been a nail biter for some other ones. Uh, this is the first time that I've left early from a game out of being frustrated. Uh, the first time that I've not wanted to stick around when we had a rain delay, and I just left and said I'll watch it whenever it's done. So uh, yeah, it's been pretty rough watching some of these games. And that being said, some other ones have been really nice, you know. So what can you do? If I feel as though the Chicago Cubs fan attitude has spread to Northwest Indiana. There's always next year. Can't wait till next year.
Yeah, and I mean the one of the things that I think I always talk about that always intrigued me about the leagues in general, like this league or independent baseball in general, is realistically, if you have a crappy year, you can kind of push it off and say, yeah, maybe next year's gonna be a year because there are some teams that do turn it around or it goes the opposite way. I just think that we've all been in the situation since what, 2019, where it's just been like, well, it is what it is. We'll probably get it next year. But the difference between 2019 and where we're at now is it was the top two teams in each division that went. So normally you knew you were out of the race for a very long time, but now with it being the top four, you kind of, it prolongs the waiting portion of it. And I think where
Right.
we're at, the frustration of at least not sniffing the playoffs has been the issue.
Well, yeah, I sniffed the playoffs last year. Um, as I was sitting in my seat and they wheeled out the
Oh
cart of
well,
champagne
okay, yeah,
to
not for us, not
Chicago to
yes,
celebrate on our field,
yeah.
which I said, hey, they can celebrate. They just need to go outside those doors onto the street to Gary if they want to celebrate because it ain't going to be right here. And then I grabbed my stuff and left. Um, so, you know,
Yeah, I looking at this week, we'll look at this week. So we take 3 out of 3 against Sioux Falls, and you dare to say that we maybe dominated them a little bit? I mean, you had a two nothing game that was close, but then you win 9-3, then 10-0. Like, I don't know if that was just a case of Sioux
two shutouts,
Falls,
two
yeah, two
shutouts.
shutouts.
Sioux Falls kind of, I don't know. I think it was our
I,
pitching. Our pitching was dominant.
yeah.
And, hey, uh, you've got arguably um, the best five starters, four out of the best five starters, or 4 out of 5 starters that are the best in the league, close to it, most reliable, I would say. Last month, this month, we already started out with Peyton having a rough game. We go to a 2-1. Was it 2-1 with Diaz pitching? Um,
Yeah.
and so, we're in it there, but we just can't do anything. Um, and then yesterday we wind up keeping it close, and then all of a sudden we just kind of lit it up a little bit at the end. But uh, it was it's baseball. It's baseball.
Yeah, and I mean, even going back to Peyton Long's point for last month, you were kind of disappointed that he didn't get pitcher of the month. And when you look back at it, he didn't have as many strikeouts and his ERA was higher. And he didn't have the wins to put in the column for it. And the wins, I don't like basing a pitcher off of wins and losses because, for instance, a Andres Diaz goes 9 innings and gives up 2 runs and loses the game. Like any guy that goes 9 innings, you should win the game. That's just your team is not helping you out in that situation. I'm just sorry. That's one of those things. And Peyton had that rough game in July. I can't remember what game it was. I think it was on the road. He gave up a handful of runs. He went, what was it, 29 scoreless innings at
Yeah.
home. Like he had an unbelievable home run going there. He was amazing to watch. He was lights out, and that's how the pitching has been all year. I mean, obviously you have your games where the pitching isn't there, but your pitching staff has shown up more times than not. And if it's
Right.
not And if it's not the starters, it's the relievers. And the
Yep.
one thing I do have to say that I'd like differently that I've seen so far with Jeff is he's allowing the starters to go a little bit further than maybe Lamar was. I think in an Anders situation where he goes 9 innings and I think they were tied or the case, I think Lamar would have pulled him out in a tight situation. I don't think you get a complete
Yeah.
game. I don't think that I think there
With
was a certain
well, with Diaz on that game, he actually came in and said he was going. He said, I'm taking the next one. I'm taking the ninth." They had already called for Cody to get ready. And so, Diaz goes out there. Cody actually comes walking out, gets to the edge of the infield and realizes that Diaz is out there pitching. And he's like, "What am I supposed to do? What do you want me to do?" But here's the thing. I I don't think that it's necessarily Jeff keeping somebody out there. I think that it is we're later on in the season. Guys are going to go longer. Guys are trusted to go longer. I think that if Diaz had gotten himself into some sort of trouble, he only pitched 108, I think is what he
yeah, it
told me.
wasn't very high.
He had like 8 strikeouts, something like that. Um,
And
you
the two
know,
runs he gave up were in the first.
You're right. Gives up a home run on the second pitch, and then I believe he gave up like 2 doubles or something
Yeah.
like that. So it was like quick 2 runs for them, and then nothing for the rest of the game. I believe he gave up eight hits that game. 4 of them were in the first inning. So uh, I'm I don't think that I think a blind person would have left Diaz out there for the ninth one. So I don't think that you can necessarily say that Jeff made a great call.
I'm
But
not I'm not I'm not saying that he made a great call on that. I was just saying that he would have been in there was a situation I think it was later on in the game that he was kind of in a pickle and Lamar would have pulled the trigger, pulled him out.
it
I'm
might
just
have.
it could be just to your point to where Jeff's just like let me see what these guys can do. If they can do this, then if they come around next, a lot of these guys are listen. A lot of these guys are not auditioning for. Well, a lot of these guys are auditioning for a job next year. To be honest with you, I mean, Jeff's completely new. He's not. He doesn't know this team. He doesn't know the players very well because he's not. They're not his guys. But if these guys can show him what they can do, he could end up being the guys, and maybe he fine tweaks it, and next year, it's different, or we'll see a whole completely different roster. I'm just saying, nonetheless. But these guys are still auditioning. If it's not here with Gary, it's somewhere else. That hey, I'm doing this, and I want to be on the mound. Like that's something that if someone says, picks up the phone and calls Jeff and says, "Hey, tell me about Diaz," he goes, "Well, that guy just he's a gamer. He wants the game. He wants to play." And that going back to your point, I think our going back to our conversation that like some of the times it doesn't feel like these guys are gamers in some situations. I don't think you get that out of the pitching staff. I think you get that more out of the hitters is sometimes they don't want to play the game. They just want to look like what their stats look like, and that's what you don't want to take that
Right,
sacrifice and
right.
take the ball over to the right.
Yep.
Whatever the case, but the pitchers it always look like they're just gamers. They're in it to win it in every game.
Yeah. Um, I would say previous years more than this, as far as it comes from the hitting perspective. I've actually seen a lot of guys be dependable. A lot of guys put themselves in a situation to just, hey, I'll take the hit on the stats to move somebody along, or, take that sacrifice or, whatever it is. So I think we see more of that this year than we did last year. But that being said, we've got a great group of guys. I I would be the first one, and I am one of the first ones to complain because I like the baseball of you hit the ball, you run as hard as you can. Um, you don't sit there and stare at it. You don't sit there and take the jog because the shortstop got the ball and he's going to throw you out. That kind of stuff. And I still see some of that, but not nearly as much as I've seen in the past 3 years. And so I'm definitely seeing these guys leg them out. We're making the other team make errors. We're making those errors cost the other team. I don't think that there's a single guy that I can, you know, that comes to mind where I'm like, yeah, that guy's not going to leg out the ball. Last year there was a handful of them. So, it's you're seeing a different attitude. You're seeing more gamers. Um, and the pitcher, same thing goes with the pitching, right? There were guys last year that I kind of felt like, you know what, they're going to go out there and they're not giving it their all, and they're just there to say, hey, I pitched. This year we don't have that. This year we've got a lot of people emotionally, invested every single time they go out there.
I agree. I mean, from that point of view, I mean, obviously, what the season has transpired to is basically a repeat of last year. We're not going to have the worst record. I think you said we're like what, four or 5 games away from like I don't think in the last month and a half, if we only win 5 games, I'll be shocked. I just don't think that's
Well, we don't
this
have
roster.
we don't have a month and a half. I believe we have 25 games left.
Okay. All right, it's
Right?
fine. We
And of
have
those
a month,
25,
a little bit less than a month. Nonetheless, Chuck,
yeah.
nonetheless,
Don't be teasing me by saying we have a month and a half. I wish we had a
Okay,
month.
you're right. I forget it ends exactly on September 1st and doesn't go a little bit deeper in. Okay, I'm sorry. I have baby on the brain, and I don't know what time of day it is. I don't know what day it is. I don't.
Well,
And nonetheless, my
uh,
point behind it is yes, these guys are different. They are more emotionally invested, and you saw that from the first pitch of the first game of the season. As I'm sitting here, certain guys get released. Jose Contreras gets released. He goes to the Frontier League, and I don't know if he's still tearing it up or he's still doing successful over there.
yep,
And then you take a Baron Ratcliffe, you release him, and then he turns around and becomes the pitcher of or the batter of the week in the American Association. And I sit there and I think about it. I said I don't know if we have a lot of these are the guys or we have a lot of these are supporting guys.
right.
Like you don't have a guy, you could put a Swazi in, at the beginning, maybe a Swazi or Richards, but they started kind of falling off. There's not a lot of people that you could put in. You could say a Peralta, but like I'm talking about the guys that you're scared of in the lineup. I'm not saying there's not a lot that we don't have a
Right.
scary lineup.
You don't have a Ryan Hernandez. You don't have Jose Sermo. You don't have,
Yes.
a Jabari Henry, right? You don't have these guys that, oh crap, if they touch the ball, it's an automatic score, right? You don't have those guys on our team. But here's the thing though. Like there's guys on other teams that scare me that don't necessarily hit it over the fence,
I'm
right?
not talking about that. I'm not talking about hitting it over the fence. I'm talking about someone that that's going to go up and okay, he didn't get a hit last at bat, but he's going to get a hit now. Like I just there's
Well, yeah. I mean,
I
those are the guys that scare me worse.
I don't a Ryan Hernandez or a Jose Sermo, you can walk them the entire time. I don't really care. They're not a threat to me on the base path. I'm talking more of like obviously a Richards would be more someone that I would see. You put him on the base path, you get him on base, like he's gonna go from first to third. Now you saw him slow down a little bit because he got caught stealing a handful of times, and that portion of it kind of stops. I'm just saying I just don't feel like there's a Baron Ratcliffe isn't the guy. He's a supporting
Right,
guy. He's
right.
Jose Contreras is not the guy, but he's a supporting guy. So I just don't feel like we have a lot of these. You take them from this situation and you put them into a better situation, they're going to succeed. I hope going forward we get more guys that are inserted in the lineup to help the supporting cast. We need a quote unquote a captain or a player that's going to be a threat throughout the entire league.
I agree with you. I don't think that we have a guy. I know that we don't have a guy that other teams worry about or that they think is this guy's a hard out. Um, you see it a couple of days ago where they, a close game, walked the bases loaded to get to LG. LG's batting 300,
Hmm.
but they walk to get to LG, and LG winds up grounding out. Um, and I would say that of the whole team that we have, the guy that I would be the most concerned about would be like an LG or a Swazi, right? So if they're walking to get to one of these guys
Yeah.
in a bases loaded situation, then we really don't have any guys that they're like, oh crap, we need to be worried about. Now, that being said, okay, we'll get hits. Sometime we'll string a couple of them together. I don't think the other teams are worried about that because we don't capitalize, and there's a highly unlikely that we're going to run a long enough string of hits together to wind up making it into a huge inning. So, and they know that, hey, if we can keep them under, keep them 1 run, 2 runs, right,
Hmm.
that they're going to wind up beating us in most cases, right? So, I agree with you. We don't have a guy that you're just like, okay, here he comes. I'd put Matt Adams on that, or a Juan John, what was his name? Hernandez, or I think that was his name a couple years ago. That was like, okay, these guys, number 3 hitter, number 4 hitter, you don't want to go into them with 2 guys on base or a guy on base because this guy's going to wind up ripping it for a triple, or this guy's going to wind up hitting it. They're going to get a hit because they're going to
Hmm.
get something in the clutch. And maybe Gunther's one of those guys. For some reason, I feel like Gunther's a guy that when he's in the clutch, he's going to wind up getting on base. But
Yeah.
that's the extent. Maybe an Elvis a little bit. Elvis will definitely make contact or get a walk, but is he necessarily going to put the ball in the outfield? Not necessarily. So, you know, it is what it is, right? It is what it is. We'll see what
Yeah.
happens. Or
Uh,
here's the thing though. You said about gamers. I don't think that anybody's told these guys that they've only won 36 games or 26 games this year because they're not playing like a 26 win team. They're out there busting their rear ends.
I guess when I use the word gamer, I mean like in the clutch. When when you're in the game, the momentum's going, you're sacrificing an at bat for yourself to move the runner. I guess when I say the gamer, I mean when you're a gamer, you're thinking the game, you're playing the game, you're moving the chess pieces. Yes, baseball is 90% mental, 10% talent, or however you want to spin it. You can have the mentality, but sometimes having the mentality is also being smart about baseball. And baseball is one of, people say football may be one of the most mentally, you have to be really smart to play football. To a certain extent, yes. I think from the strategy side, yes. But sometimes when you're in the game, not necessarily because it happens at such a high pace level that you're based off reaction. Baseball, there's so many variables, so many different things that you can do to just a single pitch. I mean, from the pitcher to the batter to the fielders, there's so many things to do. And I'm just thinking it's one of those situations where we don't think the game like that. We just think the game of, okay, what can I do? And that's where I'm going to put myself. I'm going to pigeonhole myself to being a left-handed batter that can just hit for power while everyone shifted over to the right-hand side. Why not try to softball, half swinging bunt style and take it the other way to get on base or something like that. I guess that's what I'm getting for you. When you're only winning 26 games, you got to do something different. And it's not like they don't have their
Oh,
opportunities.
right. But let's go back to how many podcasts ago where I talked about Baron Radcliffe and how he only hits the ball to right field and how they move everybody over to right field for him. And come on, dude, just hit a bunt or something. Check swing it to left field, right? And then what happens? He goes to Milwaukee and he's hitting 3 home runs opposite field, right? It's like, dude, where was this at? Because we needed it.
I but again, I think it's a different atmosphere. It's different. Okay, you put a Baron Ratcliffe in Gary, right? Where is his best opportunity to hit a ball out of the field?
Right field.
Right
Yeah.
field. It's going to be very difficult for him to hit it out of left.
Mm-hmm.
So you go to Milwaukee, it's shorter. It's a batter friendly, hitter friendly ballpark. So he can open up his horizons and take it to a different way because he can take that power and convert it the other way. So again, it comes into, do we have guys that are suited for playing in the steel yard? And I think
But
we're
here's my is that yes, you are correct in those numbers. Okay, you're correct. Playing in Milwaukee, you can go to left field and hit a home run. But like you're saying, do we have guys that are willing to take one, take two, take three for the team, right? And all I'm saying is that, dude, hit it a couple of times to left field so that they'll stop stacking the deck to right. I
I
don't
agree.
care if you fly out three times, long balls to left field and make outs. I don't care. I'm just saying it's going to help you in the long run if you don't have that short infielder that is considered a second baseman, right? Standing there waiting to catch your little pop up because you've got a hold of it, but you consistently go to right field. If that guy isn't standing there and he's playing second base, that's a base hit for everybody else, but not for you because you only hit to right field.
No, I
That,
agree.
that's
I
what
I no, I agree. And I also I think a lot of it also has stemmed to base running. I, we're still horrible on the base pass. I'm sorry. There are
things
some
things
things.
have changed. Things have changed so much in the past. I'm gonna say 3 weeks, month maybe. That I, let's go back to uh last week before last. We have 15 stolen bases on us,
Yes.
right? Um, they had guys running that weren't very fast, yet they were getting stolen bases on us. We just had a game yesterday that we won. Uh and we had a throw to second base that looked more like a throw to the outfield of right field versus center field, right? Because he just jumped up and went to throw the ball and didn't have a grip of it, and it just went over by Swazi, and it was just like, oh, what the heck's going on here? And he winds up going to third, and then I believe he ended up going home.
Hmm.
So we're sitting there watching teams take advantage of our weaknesses, watching teams sit there and just keep pushing on our weaknesses. And yet we're not out there trying to find the weaknesses of the other teams. We're not out there saying, hey, I'm going to wind up stretching this and let's take that extra step and let's steal the base. Um, there was, we mentioned this before about using the clock and keeping track of the
Hmm.
times for these pitches, right? And then all of a sudden Jason's out there with the clock, right? I'm sitting there and I'm watching and we get guys on base and we've got uh Marty on first base coach, and he doesn't pull that thing out of his pocket at all. He's got it in his pocket. But why are you not timing this to figure out, hey, you need an extra step and you can go. Why are we not like, it's like, okay, we've lost our basics and now we're not stealing bases. There were a couple of times where it was like, okay, we need a double steal right here. And yet we've got somebody at second base that's only leading off by about 2 steps, 3 steps. And the shortstop is, you know, 10 steps to one side and the second baseman's 10 steps to the other. And you're only leading off 2 steps. Come on.
Yeah.
That's what was exciting about the beginning of the year and having JR out there and him hop hop go, and getting that, just waiting for that pitcher to just make that move to home, and then he was gone. And I feel like we're just like, okay, we made
I,
enough mistakes. Let's just play it safe,
well, but I mean, to be honest though, he was on pace to break Brian Torres' record by a mile when he
right?
first started.
Right.
And then he had 3 or 4 games where he kept getting picked off.
Right.
So yes, obviously you're going to shorten up, but like that's my to my point is at what point you keep getting picked off, right? When are you going to adjust your game to get back to where you were at,
Right.
or are you just gonna put your tail between your legs and walk off and not do that anymore? And I feel like that's where they got. They got to the point to where like this team was known for not getting a lot of hits, but getting on base and being able to steal.
Right.
That was where our success was coming in. Well, we kept getting caught stealing, and so it was like that took that aspect away from us. So we didn't adjust to anything else. We didn't try to maybe force a throw down or whatever the case may be, or we would have guys on second base that had no reason going home, and they would go home, and we would send them for God knows what reason,
Right.
and that just kills momentum, and that we in a lot of these games, we shoot ourselves in the foot because it go back to my point. We don't have people that are thinking the game that way.
Here's something that I was watching a lot of. And I haven't talked to any of the players about this. Um, but it's when they implement rules, I'm a stickler for, okay, we've implemented a rule, so we've kind of changed the game a little bit. How can we take advantage of it, right? And when you've got a runner on base, you get 20 seconds,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, and that means the pitcher has 20 seconds, right? Typically, the pitcher doesn't have any time until you get in the box and you're looking at them, and then the pitcher can start doing their thing, right? And with the pitch clock, the batter has to be looking at 8 seconds. I don't understand why, if you've got a guy on second base, why you're standing in there ready to swing with 20 seconds left. To me, that makes no sense at all. Because now I'm giving that pitcher plenty of time to get the signal, decide what he wants to throw, and stare down at that guy at second base and really think about what he's doing versus having 8 seconds or 9 seconds, right? Keep that back foot out. You wait till it says 9 seconds. You move that back foot in or whatever it is, or the front foot to now you can engage the pitcher. Now the pitcher has, let's say, 9 seconds, half the amount of time to get the signal that he wants, to get set, to look at the guy. Now the guy's moving around. Should I make the throw? Should I not? Pitch clock violation. Or I need to step off because I need to think about this. Guess what? You can only do that twice, right? So we're not taking advantage of these things. We're the team that says, okay, I got 20 seconds. Let me get in there and let me stare at the batter for 16 seconds, 17 seconds, and let him decide what he's going to do with that guy at second. I don't like that. I don't like that.
Again,
Uh,
going back to my point, a gamer like that just thinking. Chuck, what you always say, what is the one thing that intrigues you about baseball? It's that it's a game within a game. You get to play chess, basically, right? So that
you.
it's a thinking man's game. But
Yep.
baseball is a thinking man. Yes, is it 90? It's 90% mental. So you have to think like that. You have to get into screaming and yelling and talking crap to other people, getting in their head. Yeah, that's one thing. But like the physical aspect of what your point that you just brought up is if we're sitting there in the batter's box 20 seconds ago, they got all the time in the world. You're putting all of the chips or the cards in the pitcher's hand versus keeping some
Right.
for yourself.
Right. And I like that Swazi waits until, 8 seconds, 7 seconds to call time.
Yeah.
I like that. I get that. I understand that, right? But if you've got a guy on second base, you shouldn't be standing in the box waiting to call time with 8 seconds left. You should not be in that box until there's 9 seconds left. You know what I'm saying? And so that's like, okay, I get it. I understand these guys have their little quirks on how they do things, but other teams are flexible with stuff. And I don't think that we offer that flexibility like we should.
I agree. One
Or
thing huh?
I said I'm bored with this now. We've talked too much about craziness about baseball.
The craziness of baseball is I know I haven't looked at everyone else's schedule, but it seemed like this month in July was just a whirlwind of like, what are they doing to the RailCats? They had, you know, yes, they have as many off days as they would have any other uh game or any other month, basically, with the All-Star break and the two Monday games off. But you go from the All-Star break, you play 4 games against Sioux City, and then you travel to Sioux Falls, and then you travel right back to Gary, and you don't get home until 9 o'clock in the morning from Sioux Falls. And even before that, I mean, just the going from Fargo or playing Fargo at home, then like country at home, and then playing 4 games at like country. Like it just seemed like it was all over the place, and
Yeah.
it was a lot of like not normal.
Yeah. It's like I don't understand how you've got these teams, like let's say Kansas City, right? That we face Kansas City at their place for 4 games. And then the next day we're at home facing Kansas City. Now I get it. Kansas City has the same struggle we did, right? They had to travel that far and turn around and play a game the same day they arrive. I get that, right? But in a case like Sioux City, okay, we're in Sioux City. The guys don't get back until I believe uh, Diaz got here at 10 o'clock
Hmm.
in the morning. He has to go out and pitch in 8 hours,
Yeah.
right? And it's like, okay. And he's like, yeah, I got like 3 hours of sleep, and it's like, why? Like, why did you have a team play at home for a week, have them travel for a week, have them play at home for a week, have them travel for a week? It's not rocket science, right? And yes, you're going to have these times where, you know what, you're only going to be able, you have something scheduled on a Wednesday. So guess what? You can't play at home that way. No, guess what? You can play in Chicago where it's not that far of a travel for those 3 days. You can play in Milwaukee where it's not, you can play in Kane County for those 3 days, right? Where it's not going to take you 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 hours to get home.
Yeah, and I guess the other surprising part is because years past, you would have a handful of like Monday doubleheaders, and
Right.
they've only had one doubleheader this year.
That's
I just
we both at the beginning of the season or when they released the schedule, we both looked at it and said, "What is wrong with these people?"
I,
I mean, why is it that we didn't go to Lincoln this year? Why is it that these guys are not going to certain places? Why is it that you've got teams in your own division that are only coming once to your field? Just absolute stupid things like that. It doesn't make any sense. It's not fair. So call it whatever you will. Uh, you have divisions for a reason. I mean, it's showtime. Your showtime is 100 games. There's no excuse to not have a video feed for your game. There's no excuse to not have your scoreboard working for your game. There's no excuse for you to not open your gates on time for your game. There's no excuse for you to not have your teams going where they need to go. It's your showtime. You got 100 games to play. It's not rocket science.
I agree. I mean, there's gonna be a lot to digest in this offseason other than just promotions.
I'll
I
tell you. I'll tell you what. No, here's some things that I mentioned these to Anthony. Me and Anthony were talking. Um, the the uh the speed clock has not worked since week 2.
Mhm.
The scoreboard, you can't get the names of the teams to show up on the scoreboard anymore.
Oh.
We've got a block missing on the video screen that's been missing for, I believe, the whole season, almost the whole season. We've got big chunks that stop working throughout the day. The well, right? Instead of
Mhm.
welcome, it just says
It's
well and
well.
icons, right? Oh well, stuff like that, and I understand some of this stuff is not something that Gary can handle because it's got to go through the city. I understand that. There's plenty of grace there. But I mean, it really does affect who comes to play. It affects what the fans see when they walk in, all of that stuff. And so, you know, does somebody want to go to Gary, Indiana to see a crappy looking field? No, they don't. They know that, oh, hey, it's a gym. This is a
Mhm.
nice looking field, right? So if the field starts looking like crap, you say, wait a second, there's an issue here, and you fix it. Well, the same thing should go with the stadium, as a whole, right? And I think the guys are trying to fix that, but it's that needs work. Stuff
Well,
like that.
well, Chuck, that brings me to one of the final points that I have on this list that
All
we
right.
haven't gotten to.
Okay.
It was Friday, I believe, that you sent a picture to me of what it looked like a guy in a yellow suit
Yes.
at at the steel yard.
Yes.
And I was under the assumption that it was the guy
I
going to the steel yard. And Chuck, you yourself were thought it was the guy. It ended up not being the guy. But what we're talking about is Savannah Bananas here. Okay, so you told me that Chesterton has been making a big push and trying to get the Savannah Bananas to play at
Northern
the steel yard.
Indiana, yeah, the Northern Indiana visitors, something or other. Yeah,
I
the Lake
think they're based
Shore,
out of Chesterton. I
I
think that's
believe
the
so.
home.
They've been pushing to get the bananas to Chesterton, to Northwest Indiana. They've been pushing to get Gary, the game in Gary. They know the bananas are going to be here on the 15th and 16th,
Hmm.
Chicago.
Which I had
So,
tickets for, but I had to give up because my wife's pregnant.
right. And I wanted to get tickets for, but unfortunately, they're too god awful expensive, and so
Well,
therefore
because you had to win the lottery, and I won the
you,
lottery.
you shafted us, and then I got shafted. I know. So yeah. That being said, I don't know that they would come play where you've only got a seating capacity or a capacity of maybe 7,000. They've kind of outgrown that when they're doing full size baseball stadiums and selling out. So we'll see.
I don't
Um,
know. I don't know if the thing is I don't know if they're gonna expand it to where like you'll have banana ball, but you're not gonna
right,
have like the Savannah bananas. Like I don't think they're gonna bring the bananas. Like you might get like the party animals. I wouldn't even say the party animals. You probably get the firemen. Like
right.
some of the knockoff
But
teams. Nonetheless, it's still banana ball.
here's the thing though. Here's the thing. I this frustrates the heck out of me. 4 years ago, when I believe it was 4 years ago, might have been 3 years ago, when the Savannah Bananas played Kansas City,
Hmm.
and they had a whole documentary about it. They showed it, talked to John West about it, and all that. It was a great time. They loved it. It was a great um, sales pitch for the bananas, right? My thing was, as soon as somebody saw that, they should have been thinking, hey, we need to get on this.
Yeah.
So what happened was the next year they wind up playing in Milwaukee. Well, guess what? The Kansas City Stadium is much like Gary. The Milwaukee Stadium is much like Gary. But we decided to sit on these guys right here. We sat on them, right? Sat on our hands and didn't do anything. And now the bananas are selling out,
Football
20,000
stadiums.
people
Foot
stadium.
football stadiums.
Yeah. And we're like, oh, maybe now we can jump into the fun. Okay. You know what? Next time, have competent people that are making these decisions and are looking to see what's going on. And then they're jumping on it and saying, we need to do this. Let's not wait until the bus is already left to say, hey, maybe I can still get a ticket. Doesn't happen.
I Chuck, I don't disagree with you on that aspect of because well, unlike Milwaukee, okay, I would say that Northwest Indiana is probably a little bit bigger than Milwaukee because plus you have Chicago that's right there. That would have brought in a lot of people, and the thing is like you could pack the steel yard pretty full if you use the berm, if you use standing room, like there's a lot of room that you can work with at the steel yard. Like I think there you have a lot, and yeah, it's disappointing that it didn't happen. and it probably more likely not going to happen. It's just like a little bit too late on that aspect of it. I get they went all out. They did a video, try to get him in. I get it, but it's one of those. I just think that it's not that the owner of the Savannah Bananas might not be interested in it, but I just think that they outgrew it. I don't think he's a greedy, hungry mongerer for money, because you still go to the Bananas ballpark and you get $40 a ticket,
Right.
free food, free drinks all game. I mean, that's why you have to win the lottery, because if you win the lottery, you pay $40 for it. The stupid expensive prices are the people that are scavenging tickets off, like scalping the tickets.
Right.
So it's just that if you're selling out the Tampa Bay Buccaneers stadium, I am sorry to tell you, but the 3,000 capacity steel yard is probably not on our
6,100.
3,000. We'll go with 3,000.
6,100.
Okay.
7,000 with adjustments is what the thing said.
Okay. Well, I'm just going off the average attendance that we get. Okay.
Let me ask you this though. I mean, seriously, like I appreciate that they want to
Oh yeah.
have. Oh no, hold on. They had a guy wearing a fancy yellow suit with a yellow hat, right? They had another guy with his fancy Savannah Bananas jersey on. They gave away Savannah Bananas handkerchief things for the fans in that one section to twirl around and scream, we want bananas, right? All of this, I'm sure that they're going to have a real nice video package put together. Okay. I think they're going to put, you know what? Let's just say they have the fanciest video package that they put together, right? Um, and then they get it. Let's just say they get it. Okay. And the Savannah Bananas show up and you don't know who's playing because you can't get a name up on the board. And when they play that fancy video package, half the video is missing because half the board's missing because it's not playing like it's supposed to. And the Savannah Bananas are going to say, what?
Yeah.
Give them something to appreciate. Give them something to show that you're paying the money, that you're putting the money into it. So then they ain't got to come in and waste their time because that's what it would be.
Well, rumor has it that scoreboard that's up there
I
might
was
still
I I was
be.
told I was told by somebody that first one was incorrect and that it appears to be about 9 years old. That they
Okay.
replaced both of them at the same time.
Okay. Nonetheless,
Just saying.
nonetheless, Chuck, when the video board starts going out, hey, listen, if you want to revert it back to Wrigley, Wrigley Field, and you want to man a guy up there, and I'm all for it. Hire a guy, put me up there, coach. I'll do it, and
I
I'll,
was
I'll
hold on. I was told that it was unsafe because of all the heat that we had and how much heat is generated back there. That it was unsafe to have somebody in there, and that's why it hasn't been worked on. So I don't think you want to be raising your hand saying, "Go ahead and put you in there." Um, but
no. I'm
what
not
we could
talking about
do,
fixing it. I'm just talking about putting the boards up there.
right? But if it's too hot in there,
They
that's you
probably have
probably
some AC that goes on up in that building. They have a little fan of some sort.
what we should do is let's get ourselves, you know what, we between our budget here at RailCats Talk Podcast, get Ryan, maybe we can cut back a few of his meals. Let's get us some banners made that just says RailCats with some spots for scores, and then whatever the opposing team is with some spots for scores. And then we'll just grab ourselves a giant marker like we used to have when I was in middle school. There were like these paints that you just put the brush in and you could just do this real fancy painting with it. Um, we'll just do that out there in the outfield. We'll hang it over the fence. And every time somebody scores, we'll just go get ourselves some white paint, put some white paint up there, and then paint another number.
Oh, Chuck, I may have to change the name of the podcast. I'm gonna break this live here.
Chuck's
I'm so sorry to this lady that emailed the website, the RailCast Talk podcast. email asking for them to announce their birthday for their mother-in-law. um, I am going to have to sadly reject them and tell them that they have to contact the RailCats and not the knockoff version of that RailCats.
Oh, no, no, no.
Chuck, I am not
Say,
going down your path.
say happy birthday to the person. That's all that they wanted was for us to say happy birthday to the person. First name. Come on.
Hello, we're excited to come to the RailCats game on August 12th. I am requesting that you announce a birthday for my mother-in-law for her 86th birthday on August 12th. She loves the RailCats and recently also
August 12th.
became a great grandma. So our family is celebrating at the park that night with the RailCats. Let me know if that's possible. Thank you.
Oh, well, you know what? It is possible. It is definitely possible. So what we will do is, we are not tied to the RailCats. We are two schmoes that just like to talk baseball. And we don't get paid for this. We're not on the payroll. Uh, I can tell, I can say all the mean stuff I want to about the RailCats and not get in trouble. I don't have to worry about being fired from my imaginary job here, right? So we're not tied to them. But what we can do is we can give you we can forward that email on to Anthony to see if we can make that happen. Um, and hopefully it does. That's all that we can do.
Yeah, that's a new one. That's live here on the podcast. That's a new one.
That's breaking.
Um,
Did you just get that
yeah, I just got that
while we were talking?
while we were talking. I saw, oh, I got
Wow.
an email. Oh, that's
Breaking news.
interesting.
That is breaking news that we're going to have a celebrity at the stadium on the 12th. We don't know what the celebrity's name is,
I'm
but
not giving out people's names.
they're famous enough to be now a grandmother.
No,
Um,
no, no,
and-
recently a great grandmother.
sorry, a great grandmother that is going to be celebrating a birthday at the Steel Yard on the 12th.
86th birthday.
Jeez, oh, Pete's. Jeez, oh, Pete's. I can almost guarantee
Chuck, you're like 2 years away. What are you talking about?
I can almost guarantee I'll run into that person. Be like, hey, I know you.
All right. Well, Chuck, you got a final out for this week?
Oh boy, just put me out of my misery.
Well, Cleburne might just do that because we're in Cleburne for the next 6 games.
Starting tomorrow.
Starting, yes.
Here's a good one. I was talking to Diaz, and he is only, um, he's trying to get to 100 strikeouts this year. I think he was at 80. No, he was at 64, something like that. I can't remember. For some reason, I think he was like 40 away or something like that. 30, 41 away, something like that.
He is at 66, so it's 44.
44 or 34 away.
Yeah, 34.
Yeah, so
Yes.
34 strikeouts away. I think he thinks that he might have 5 starts left. So that would be really cool. We got some guys making some milestones. That's my final.
All right. Well, if we're
What
not
about
here,
you?
oh me, I got no final. My final out is this baby can come any minute now. We're ready.
That's the way that it works.
Um,
I told you when it was okay. I sent you a message.
yes, I understand. You told me that it was okay. I,
Okay,
you
if you
know,
have a baby now, you said, should I let her know? And I said, yes, you should let her know.
I
I said,
would. It would be nice, if he did come a little bit sooner than later, because by that time, maybe potentially my wife would let me leave the house with or without the child, and maybe go to a game with or without the child. But it depends on when he's.
yeah. So right now you've got the last.
I'd like at least go to one game against Lincoln. That would be nice.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yes.
If you don't get to go, I will definitely have a popcorn in your honor.
Yeah, I bet you will.
Yes.
All right, well, that's gonna wrap it up for this week. I hope you enjoyed the rest of your day, rest of your evening when you're watching this, and go Cats.
The 0-2.
Swing and a miss, strike three. Wrap this one up in green and white.